So good morning to our incubatee. So we at Siliman TPI decided that we're going to have a unified format, no, and this is also so that our weekly consultation will be seamless, and we know where to what to refer to, and we already know at first glance or what are the things that we have completed so far. So for this particular slide, and by the way, you don't have to finish the entire PowerPoint presentation immediately at one setting. We will be working on this. It's like a working file that we will always go back to each time we have a consultation. So for example, here, if you already have a logo, this is where you put the logo. Now, if you don't have a logo yet, then we will also help you finalize your logo. And that means that we will if there's no logo here, that means to say that our team will have to look for schedule so that this can be also one of the things that we will help you with. So we will schedule a meeting with you with our graphics editor so that we can work on your logo. We can help you work on your logo. So just leave this part for the logo blank if you don't have a logo yet. Now, if there's already a logo, then that would also mean that our team will also check if the logo can be trademarked. And then here you're going to put your Incubatee project name. So for example, Pasafan or say Raya events, etc. And then here is your tagline. So this is your marketing tagline. In one of our weekly consultations, I know that we have mentioned this, no, so that in one line, it's like a marketing tagline wherein in one line, we already know what your tech is all about or what's the value proposition that you want to offer to your potential customers. And then here at the bottom, you can include the team member's name. No, so sorry, this includes the name, the email address, and the mobile number. This is also going to make it easier for us to reach out to you if ever there are concerns or questions or deliverables that we want to ask from you. Now, so again, this is a working PowerPoint presentation. So you just fill this one up initially based on what you already know or what you have already decided upon at this particular moment. And then we will go back to this each time we have a weekly consultation. So for this slide, this is where you put the problem that you are actually focusing on. So you can work on this particular slide by telling a story. So who is your customer? What is the customer's problem and how they are currently addressing the problem. So it's like a user story. So for example, let me give you an example. Let's say that you're working on katong pareha ng sa angkas. So who are their potential customers? Your potential customers are like those working moms. So let's say, mayroon kang meet Carla. No? That Carla could be a fictitious names. Meet Carla. Carla is a working mom, single parent, and she has to balance her time with her family or with her baby and her work. So in Manila, for example, because we're talking about Angkas here as an example, they have to travel we have to allocate like 1 to 2 hours travel time before going to work. So so her story is that she has to leave at 7 or 6 a.m. and at the time the baby is still sleeping for her to get to work at 8 a.m. Now the same thing, if her work ends at 5 p.m., that means that she will be home like at 6, 7, or 8 or 9, depending on the traffic. And that would mean that her baby is already sleeping. No? So that's the problem that you are addressing on this particular solution. So you talk about all the problems on this slide first. You can duplicate this slide as many times as you want, based on the types of customers that you are focusing this solution for. And then the next slide is going to be your solution. So given all the problems that we have discussed in the previous slides, you can include here statistics, etc., on the current scenario. And here is your solution. So your suggested format is, for example, if you say an app or a product, a service, etc. For, and then your potential customers, who are these customers? To blah, 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 blah. So these are the customer benefits or the customer problems that you want to solve by providing that solution. So for example, you say, this is an application customers or for farmers or for restaurants or for hotels that will allow them to blah 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 blah. No, so that's the suggested format. And then what's your proposed solution? You can include here sketches, flowchart, block diagrams, screen mock-ups, animation, etc. And you can also separate this in another slide if you really want to. Now then, this one is your customer and your feedback. So we have already shared with you the interview guide last time. So this is where you could put those customer and their feedbacks. The next slide will be to talk about your initial traction, if any. No, so you can leave this one blank if you don't have any revenue yet, or if you're still on a very young level of technology readiness level. No, so if your program is not yet running, then just leave this one blank. If your technology is already available and you already have initial customers, then you can put that here. So this will actually later on entice your potential investors. Now, oh, okay, this one is already earning, so this one is really working. No, this one is really something that has potential for investment or for growth. So this is where you put your initial traction, if there's any. The next slide will be for the market size and the market potential. Oh, by the way, if you don't have initial traction yet, please leave this one blank. Do not delete the file, because that will let us give us an idea that what is missing in your a particular tech, what is missing for your team. Now, the next one is for your market size and your market potential. So here you will specify who are your total, what is your, or who are your total, what is your total available market. So this is the who or what is your total available market. This is the total market demand for your product or your service. Who's your serviceable available market? This is the segment of the TAM targeted by your products or services, which is within your geographical reach. And who is your SOM or your SOM, serviceable obtainable market, which is a portion of SOM that you can capture. So for example, if you are if your market size and your market potential is initially you want to focus in Incubatee and then Negros Oriental, but you have the entire Philippines as your potential users, etc., then you indicate that here. No? So you can actually create a graph out of this. No? And then the next one is your competitive landscape. So here you can actually indicate who are your potential competition, and we will discuss more about this in another talk. But here you can specify how does your proposed solution provide value to your customer. How does it potentially compare to the competition? So if you already have a SWOT analysis, you can put that here too. So you can enumerate your competitors on this particular slide. So for multiple features for comparison, present in table form. So for example, you have here competition A, competition B, competition C, and then you can indicate on the left side per row all the features that are available for your competition. You can put a check mark if this tech or this feature is available among your competitors and also with you. And then, so in other words, in one glance, we will be able to see what are the features of your tech, what are the features that are being offered by your competitors, and where do you position yourself, or how do you provide competitive edge, based on your proposal. And this one, so business model. So you already have the canvas for your business model. You can paste that here, or we can update this, as we go on. So this is where you will indicate how you will generate the revenue, what are the package price and the inclusions, etc. And then, so going back, if you have other mentors in the future as well, then you can actually show this to them, and it will be a lot easier for you already. It's already there. Now, then this one is your user acquisition, your sales plan, or your growth. So what distribution model do your closest competitors use? What distribution model is appropriate for your product? What value does each of your channel contribute? So we can build this one up as we refer to the mentors because probably some of you do not have any idea on your user acquisition yet at this point. Then you have your investment requirements. So in the future, for example, if like uh, what really are your needs for technology and for your business development. So how much is needed to implement this development? No? So for example, for 1 year, what are the milestones that you want to achieve with the amount that you are asking for? No? So this will give an idea. Okay, but this is also it's also very important that you have these investment requirements, but you already are able to show that you have traction. So, but in the future, no, so you can fill this one up. Like, say, for example, given the team composition that you have now, what can you finish within your capabilities, no, financial capability, time capability, etc. And then in the future, once you can already prove that this is really going to be saleable or working, what other investment requirements would you need, no, from your for your investors. Now then, here you can also include your team composition. So you can include here photos of yourselves, what are your track record, what's your passion, what's your skills, and how this is connected to the problem or the solution. So as mentioned in one of our weekly consultation, it's actually very important that you have varied skills among your team members. So for example, if you're a team of all techie geeks, no, so you might need someone with a background in business administration so that your potential investor in the future would know, okay, you have someone there that could manage your business side and not only the technology side. So it's good to have varied members of your team. So if, for example, if your solution also has to do with kind of mga sciences or chemists, biologists, then you also need to have, you also need to probably um, involve someone in that particular field. So include acknowledge key researchers also who develop the tech and any faculty and industry advisors that you have already reached out to. Now, so in the future, we will also be, especially the young incubatees here in SCTBI, we will also be advising you to reach out to potential industry advisors, now of course with a non-disclosure agreement that we will also provide so that you can ask kuan kanang um, inputs from them as to who you could partner with. We already have a non-disclosure agreement, and also we already have templates for engaging in other research, no, that could potentially help your project or your solution. So we will work on this one, no. So notice that if the founders have very good credentials or experience, you can put the team slide on the first parts. At the very least, the CEO. This is an option if there's no traction yet, otherwise no need. Just an option if the major strength for the startup are the founders. And then this one is an optional slide. So what are the key assumptions in your ventures and what is the most efficient way to confirm each one? Now, so this is optional. So yeah, so basically that's what we want you to do for the at the moment. We know that you already have prepared some of this, but we just don't have a copy, or we have just seen it based on the video that you have presented or your initial talks before. But we want this to be a working uh, PowerPoint slide for everyone so that it's a lot easier for us to assess what are your needs, no, as our incubator. So I guess that's it, no, for this particular recording, Neil.